Hi, everybody. Right now we've got a blank canvas, but oh, well, since it's already in frame, I'm going to show you. Real quick, this is a video about some very simple. Oh, first I should say, Happy May 4th. May the 4th be with you on this. Um, what I'm going to tell you about tonight are some cool crafts that you can do at home. And we're going to start with perler beads. And this one in particular is pretty easy to make. Doesn't take that long, doesn't take that many beads. And got a couple patterns here. We're gonna set those up. So basically, the idea with this is that there's the ones around the edge. The other ones, though, they mostly come in your standard set of perler beads. With the baby green, we're just going to say baby. This is a very fine baby, but for copyright reasons, we're going to keep it to that. And with this particular young creature, you're going to have to maybe get this green separately. You can just use the regular green that comes in a package of perler beads. I have one over here on my floor. It says 6,000 beads. So you have a lot. You can mix enough. When you make one of these patterns, you're going to be using a circular plate. And with that circular plate, you have to make sure that it lines up this way. So what I mean by that is you can see here in the pattern and on the thing itself, you have in the very center a green bead. And then working out from there, I would even say probably with these, start in the center, but keep in mind the position of the other beads, because basically when I've shown this project to other people, when I've done it with all ages of people, the biggest stumbling block is always, oh, like the plate was tilted this way. Now, you see this and you think, well, okay, it's just a circle. But I mean, you can see when I kind of tilt the beads around, there's sort of different configurations. So if you have it upright, then you're going to get like this dog bone shape in the middle with the green beads. You want that position. Then it's still a dog bone, but it's sideways. So you want this to be vertical. That's a really good way to make sure that you've started out right. If you get this vertical dog bone, then that means you're okay and you can continue going with this project. But I mean, otherwise, like what I found with kids and teens and adults is if you have this horizontal dog bone shape, you're going to have to start over because you won't be able to get the shape right. You won't be able to get the ears or the head or anything. And I did not realize this at first, but now that I've done it a few times and helped other people do it, now I know. So I can warn you and just tell you that, this is a fun project to do. If you want to create a little guy out of beads, doesn't take that long, as long as you start in the right place. So just remember, vertical green dog bone. It's sort of an odd way to describe it, but you can see if I kind of zoom in here, there's 5 beads. So these 5 beads right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, you can do black and the white for the eye. You can kind of change that up if you want. But yeah, if you have basically the plate for the perler beads, if it is in the wrong configuration, then those 6 beads in the middle, they will look different. It'll be, again, horizontal dog bone, which is what those 5 beads sort of look like. You can see there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's our first perler bead project, just kind of a quick description. And as you can see, I've got 2 here. The bottom one, this is the second one I made, got some nice blue beads there, and I quite like it too. And neither of these take a whole lot of beads. You can count them out ahead of time if you'd like. And with perler bead projects, I would just say, this is another way you can learn from my mistakes. When you go to iron your project, do not leave the iron on for too long. For example, if you're doing this, say, in a high school library and you're helping people do these projects, and you go to iron one, little guy like this. Thankfully, it was for one of the staff. It wasn't for a student, but I left the iron on. And not only did I melt the beads pretty dramatically, I also melted the plate. So probably, ooh, that would have been a good visual aid, but you can imagine, basically perler bead plates, they've got, just the tip sticking out in each part of the grid, and those were all melted, so don't do that. And Yeah, the blue one though I quite like. So this is kind of, yeah, I labeled it pattern 2. And if you'd like to make these, pretty simple. Again, just make sure you start with the right beads in the center. So you're going to have like that. There you go. You got it. So 3 across with the brown, 2 down on brown, and then up 2 on green. It helps to count these. It really does. Like that for me when I'm like making one of these, keeping track of, okay, for the pattern I have, I want to go across with this many of a color and then switch to that color. Like I've seen there's all different ways of doing this. And for my next pattern, you're really going to see how this can be time consuming. So this is pattern number 2, actually technically 3. You just saw 1 and 2. This is number 3. This is the most elaborate pattern that I have made so far. And this is, of course, the big baby, the giant size baby. It's a little smaller than actual size, but it's close. And the whole idea is each square is a bead. And what you're going to want to do if you want to undertake a pattern like this, first of all, you're going to have a bigger plate. And be careful not to jostle it. You don't want to tip this over. You don't want all your good bead work to go, have to reset the beads basically. But the big thing with these, I've seen people do these all different ways. And one way to do it is you can like kind of tackle one piece at a time. Maybe start with the head and then move down. That's certainly an option. With this too, I mean, that kind of helps because then you kind of get done with certain colors at certain times. So if you just do the head, fine, you're just going to need the black and then the green. Basically, there's 3 greens here. You have light green, dark green, and then there's like, the main skin tone green, but then there's light green for the ear and the coral. And then for the mouth, this is actually translucent green. And I'll show you that right now. So here's the real deal, life size, a little bit bigger than my hand because, yeah. The whole idea, though, I mean, you can do the head. Like, again, when I did this with high school kids, budget time, but budget in terms of time, budget for more than what you think you're going to need because, like, for these now, and it seems like it always takes longer than I think it's going to. Even with high school kids, like they hadn't done perler beads for a while, but it was still like, oh, okay. So you just go this many across and then down. And like, I keep saying there's different ways to do it because I've shown, with me, I just kind of start to go around. Like I tend to do an outline, but I've seen people, they'll maybe do one color at a time. And I don't mean like outline so much as, oh, okay, well, I'm going to maybe start with the eyes, but that can be tricky because if you don't start them in the right place, like this is a big enough beading project, you got to start like, I would recommend starting with the corner of an ear because this is going to be right up to the edge of the plate, this width and height. And I've seen, again, when I've done this with groups, sometimes people will start either at the bottom and then just go down row by row. It's going to be time consuming no matter what you do. But if you want to simplify this, you can totally break it down and say, oh, well, I'm just going to like do the head. And you can make like a nice little magnet or a keychain that way. And if I flip this guy over, you'll see you get kind of like a cool pixel artifact if you really, really melt the beads. Now, I'm not super well versed in this. I'm I'm a perler bead hobbyist. I'm not a professional, but it seems to me there is some like depending on who you ask, some people say, "Oh, you really want to melt all the beads like this. You really want them kind of totally sealed together like this. You want them, totally melted, so then you can't have any coming off." Other people say, "No, no, you should, do it more gently like this." Like with the first one, I'll show you the front. Okay, there's the front. You can see, if I flip it over, it's not that different. Like you can see I really melted it. I really cooked it there because I really wanted it to stay together. And then you'll see though, I mean, there's gaps. There's still big gaps in the middle of this thing. Even where the beads got really melty, there's still some big gaps. And I mean, that's fine. It's holding together. Like enough of the beads are connected to other beads that you're okay. I mean, you don't want it to totally melt. Remember my story of melting a plate with the iron. Like don't totally melt the beads to the point that you destroy a plate. Which with this, I will say, this guy, I did bend a plate. I mean, I cooked him for so long. I left the iron on long enough that, okay, fine, he's together. You know, all the beads are sealed together. But I did have a plate get warped in the process. So that can happen. Even his face got a little bit melty, but then you go out to the ears and it's like, oh, well, you know, hey, that's kind of bendy. Like I re-ironed part of this because I had a couple beads snap off. So if you're doing this, you know, for yourself or with others, just keep in mind you really want to have the iron on for long enough. But I probably shouldn't be saying this over 10 minutes into the video, but just so you know, for future reference, always have a piece of wax paper on your project. Piece of wax paper, you put that here, and then the iron's going to go on top. So that's why you get this melted effect, but you don't get, you know, a bunch of melted plastic on your iron. So that's nice. So yeah, this is the big baby. Big baby took a while and turned out pretty well. Another thing in terms of adjustments, like when it comes to the white beads on the eyes, you could totally have like them in the same position. I tend to like, oh, you know, he's kind of looking over that way. Or, you know, this is just kind of what I saw when I first looked into this pattern, and I kind of modified what I found on Pinterest because I liked the pattern I found, but I wanted to simplify it a little bit. Ways of doing the face. Like some people do a darker green bead. I really do still like, you know, this kind of translucent green just because it's more subtle. So it's kind of like the eyebrows and the nose and mouth. And you can kind of see, oh, okay, you know, that's his face, but it's more like a green tint, green skin tone green than like a really dark forest green. But I mean, you have both. Like in a typical, you know, package of perler beads, and I'm talking about the tub. I'm talking about like you can go to Michael's or Joann and you can get bags of individual colors. You can order those online too. You can get plates. Order it all online at this point, just, you know, for for various reasons. I mean, just in general though, you can go to the place and pick up beads or you can order them online. And I mean, in a tub of several thousand, you're going to have a lot of these translucent green and you're going to have light green. You're going to have all these colors. For something like this, though, I think the biggest color in terms of cost, it's this light brown here. This light brown, I bought a separate package of that, and for the baby's main skin tone, bought separate packages of those because in both cases, it was around 90 beads. So if you're going to be counting, actually, you know, this one may have been 90, this one may have been over 100. Just keep in mind, you know, when you go to prepare, maybe have all your beads set out and have some tweezers ready, and then you can just work a little bit faster. But now, for the second phase of this video, this isn't just a fun easel for the patterns. Also going to do a real quick painting of that baby we just saw. Because, you know, it's May 4th, and I thought, oh, it would be fun to try another painting video. Maybe have a better angle this time. And so this one is going to be, I think, very impressionistic. Because the green I've got here, I quite like this green, actually. I think this could be really good. So the idea with this baby, this small green baby, is the ears go up, but they don't go too high. I'm just going to do the head. Can I move that across there? And I know what I just said about the head, but head versus ears. Like, basically, whenever I'm like sketching this, and you know, again, that maybe not be the best way to approach watercolors, but it's fine here because really, this is a baby with a lot of lines in it. Kind of start to take the ear out flat. And as you're doing this, the nice thing too is like there's very dark colored eyes on this baby. So even if you just want to like kind of go back afterward, you're going to be able to like go down and just be like, oh, okay, you know, I can fix this up the way I want it to be. The ears, they're pretty big, you know. And for any of you Mystery Science Theater fans out here, with the start of this, you know, what it appears that I'm painting is in fact a hobgoblin from the movie Hobgoblin. But no, we're gonna get to the baby. We're gonna get there somehow. Basically, yeah. Okay. So this is kind of nice in a way because I'm getting some, you know, the texture with the paint, the lines I mentioned before. And I'm actually gonna like bring this down, start to get the bottom of the face. You don't like typically with this baby, you do not see the whole face. At least I mean, it depends. For the most part, though, like, got a very high collar on the little coat that he wears. I just want to take it up a little bit farther. But then bring the head up here. Because he does raise his ears, kind of like, just don't want him to be too hobgoblin-y. And the idea here, actually, we're going to do like, I think, a cool blue space background because it is May 4th and, thinking of Star Wars on this day. Stars and wars, they can be independent of each other. But anyway, I'm going to bring the face out a little bit. This is a baby with kind of a grumpy face, This is not a baby that's like super cheerful and smiley. Exactly. He smiles sometimes, he has a good time and you'll see a little smile on his face. Quite big, but that's the point. And kind of like the main center of the face. What you kind of want to think of in terms of this baby is you almost want the ears and the face, and like each thing should be just about a third. Like the ears are a little bit longer than that, but I'm thinking, just looking at this, like, okay, I want this to be a third of the thing, and this is another third, and we're getting pretty good there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a little more, just to get some lines there, because this is a baby that's seen some stuff. And I already kind of, got a dot for the nose, got a very sort of subtle nose there. And next, what we're going to get into is his little coat. This is a brown I use a lot, evidently. And once again, just using like a very basic pack of Crayola washable watercolors. You can use other stuff. At some point, I will probably do a video about watercolor pencils because I do so love those. Been a minute, but still like them. So this kind of, gives you a sense of, there's his little collar. This is going to be kind of stylized, kind of cute. He's got this big outfit. And if I bring this down, I'm going to bring the sleeves out a little bit more first because like the big thing here, the collar is like almost in the ears. Like it's all around his face. And it's really, there you go. Okay. You get like, yeah, all the way to the side there. And a little bit more. Yeah, it's pretty good. Kind of surrounding his face. He's sort of enveloped in this little coat that he's got. And the sleeves are sort of pulled up. There you go. And let's start to bring the outfit, get some folds into the fabric, get a little bit of texture going. And move down a little. It's sort of like it's not like a burlap, but it's almost in that family of fabric is what it looks like. So you can kind of like, it doesn't have to be super smooth looking. It can be a little bit rough or a lot really. Color that a little more. And let's see. Okay. Yeah, so there you kind of get to start to see a little bit of texture. I'm going to go back over with a darker brown too, but in the meantime, like in the middle, you have like, I've treated the collar as sort of like, oh, there's almost a zipper, but no, it's more like a flap. There's like a fold, and you don't see a button, but I'm guessing that's how it fastens. There's like some kind of unseen fastener. So basically, just got this little dude, and gonna spread that out a little bit more because really it's just, it's like a cloak. It's a coat, but it's very big. He's a little guy and it's a big like garment that he's wearing. And this is good because kind of makes for a good place. Just these little fingers poking out. And then just gonna do There we go. It's going to be very delicate, more delicate than I have previously done with watercolors of late because I've got the small guy and the green here. There we go. Gonna darken that a little bit on the head because he really does have like some legitimate forehead lines. And we can kind of, I also want to get some eyebrows going too. You know, that's something I may pass back with like a darker green, but I'm liking this so far. You know, you get the sense of age and not weathered exactly, but it's kind of like that. Okay, and so here we're gonna get into pink, and I'm just gonna do a line on each. We're not gonna stick with this pink for too long because it's very bright. And again, sometimes you might just want to dab. That's okay. So the pink is super bright. Really, like you want more of a coral. And again, if it drips, no worries. You're just going to kind of do like this. And here, so this gives you like the color I'm sort of thinking of for this, which is not a dark pink. It's like your ears pink, you know? If you've looked at your ears recently, you can see, yeah, there we go. We're going to just go around this anyway. Get back into here. Gonna do a real nice, yeah. So the idea there is okay, that's good. We've got this sort of subtle pink. It's especially subtle, you know, have to think of orientation with the right ear, his right ear, and the other is a little bit more pink, but that's nice too. And what we're gonna do next, like I like where this has started. Now I'm gonna do something with the background, and that is make it dark. Make it kind of a real cool space background. And I did not used to like backgrounds, but they've certainly grown on me now that I'm a little bit better at them in various mediums. Okay. So this is the thing, you know, if you're just kind of starting out and you feel like, oh, I mean, be careful with dark colors, I guess, because you know it's easier to paint over a light color than a dark color. But yeah, what I'm doing here is I'm just going to kind of go around my guy. And that's nice. I really like, I'm mixing in a blue. The whole idea is to get you kind of a night sky color because it's not really blue and it's not really black. It's lots of colors. And we're going to get a cool like galaxy effect, I think. That will be nice. That's what we want for this little kidlet who lives in a galaxy far, far away. And I'm going to play with the texture here a little bit to really kind of just, you know, make it seem like space, like get like a nebula thing going. That's fun. This is fun because this dude, like this little baby dude, he does have some hair, but not a lot. He's just got kind of some fuzz up there, so that's good because now the way I've done the darker blue or the purple mix sort of implies hair. Like you can get in and do some gray if you'd like, but you know, this is just kind of a fun thing, fun painting I'm doing of the child, this small boy for May 4th. And you know, you can always like get as detailed or as not as you want. Like watercolors are fun for me in the sense that I don't feel like I have to like do a ton of detail stuff that maybe I normally. Oh, that ear is very good. Yeah. All right. So you can see my ears are different sizes now, but that's okay because we're going to go back over to this other ear. And you can see like some of the green I have from before, like when I used a little bit too much water, kind of blending in with the blue, and that's a-okay because coming back now with like a little bit of a thicker paint, and that's going to be good. Here we go. And the nice thing is like it's still pretty wet. Yeah, there we go. So the paint, you know, you can still play around with like, oh, okay, I'm going to bring this down a little bit very carefully because I don't, you know. Yeah, okay. So we're going to get into this background some more. This is going to be, you know, just a little fun painting of this little lad. But like with backgrounds, you can really do a lot. I love like, even in digital art, there's very cool watercolor effects, but I don't really know how to do those yet. So I can just paint them. I can do that with watercolors so far. And yeah, there we go. I'm getting into a little bit more of this purple, which there's a couple purples in this little pack of paint. And, there's dark blue and there's purple. And the other purple might be more of a purple, more of a rich hue. But I like this because of how well it goes with the blue. Go up there. Yeah, it's pretty good. Bring that over. And then I'm going to kind of start, like once, see, a few more minutes how I feel about the background. Okay, and this is good for the sleeve because it's got, there we go, a little bit of definition where it's like rolled up, it's like the coat is so big on him. He's got these big billowy sleeves, and then you get to the bottom, and his fingers, like even though the sleeve is rolled up, his fingers are barely sticking out. So pretty good there. I'm gonna kind of start to come down on this side too. There we go. I'm just gonna kind of give you a sense of his little hand there. It's very small. I mean, it's an average sized hand for the for the body of this creature, but like those sleeves again, like his fingers barely poke out. Okay, so this is fun. If you look at like nebulas online, I just love, the swirls of color, like Hubble Space Telescope photos and the way these are treated, just kind of the look of far off galaxies is very fun. And I think, yeah, I'm gonna go back over here now. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. Really just acting like, there's just this one little, there we go, that's good. Kind of gives you a sense of fingers. He's got them, but again, code. And yeah, okay, get back into that blue. This is very good. Just gonna sort of like take turns with the blue and purple. So like over here, we'll go back, and we've got to mix together. And go back to purple up here. Yeah, I'm gonna get some more purple. There we go. Kind of blend that a little bit if you want. Get on this side. Another fun thing with watercolors, I find like layering the paint, you get some really cool effects. And like what seems to work pretty well for me is, I'll do like kind of a layer of a lighter color. Maybe I come on like, hey, there's a lot of water. That's okay though, because you can kind of spread a lot on, you can cover like a bigger area faster. And I mean, I end up just coming back later too. Get some bubbles there. And yeah, so you can really layer the paint and get some kind of cool color effects, especially with something like this. Imply stuff behind this little creature. Imply like great distance and space and stuff. So that's good. And you can kind of, I'm just sort of going out. Yeah, there we go. Kind of apply stars a little bit. Get back on the side, finish up the little blue, I think. I didn't quite do that before, did I? And it's going to drip. That's fine. Might go. Oh, never mind. I guess it did. That's nice because then we can kind of bring it over here. And, sort of make it look like he's standing. Like he's just sort of floating here. Like he's kind of posed like he's standing up, but really. Yeah, there we go. And I might come back and do a little bit more on that brown. Yeah, okay. So going back to purple, and you see like we've got some green mixed in again, but that's nice. Like with blue, it's easy to just go to a teal. That's good. I like to visit Teal Town. And now we can go back up here. Yeah, so again with the sleeve, yeah, I'm going to go to brown in a sec because that will help, give you kind of some more details with our little friend. But yeah, I'm liking how this looks. This is like a sort of, you got a rather evocative backdrop for the baby, the child. And if I go around, yeah, I'm going to get some more like darker color to kind of, you know, it's looking nice. This is, I don't know, depending on where you share art and how, Instagram is a square, other places, Tumblr, for example, you can do a rectangle. You've got shape options. But with painting, I do like, the look of paintings where it's just like that little square. In this case, I've kind of got it's kind of square on the bottom, but then we've got more of a rounded top. And that's fun. But I am gonna kind of, yeah, it's fun. Well, let's see. Yeah, so I can keep this going across the top here. Yeah, this will be nice. Give us more of like a, feeling of space and sky. Could be sky, could be. I mean, technically, we're all in space all the time. Whoa. So, anytime you see the sky, you're seeing space. So, maybe this is not like this little guy floating somewhere. Maybe he's just looking up at the night sky, wherever he is. And I'm going to bring it down a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. Get more. Yeah, okay. So, I'm pretty happy with that. All right, pretty good. And with this, you can kind of see that, my thing with backgrounds is I try to sort of make the figure in the center of it. So the background and the little lad himself, things are sort of equidistant, like his ears, they're both about an inch apart, or they will be. So I add a little bit more over here. And again, like when you have these spots that are kind of wet, I would recommend, like what I like to see and do is to just sort of like swirl more paint in there because you've already got like a base coat and you can sort of decide, oh, okay, I'm going to come back and add some definition to this, add a little bit more depth of color. Like up here, I like the faded look at the edges or how it just sort of like it stops, but like not right away. That side though, this is a little too abrupt. So we're going to come back over here and spread this around a little bit. And again, just kind of do some cool swirls because, galaxies, they don't have rules for how they're supposed to be shaped. There's lots of wild ones. Yeah, so that's pretty good. So now that we've got our little lad and his background, because and this is another thing with me, I do try to like start with light colors, go into darker colors. And especially like with this green, that I really wanted that to be the first color. And I can come back like with some darker colors because it looks like there's a lot of green on this side. But I kind of like how it's blending into a teal. But now we're going to get in to the really dark colors because, you see the blue and the purple. It's like medium dark. It's not, as dark as, say, this gray is going to be. So here we have, just gonna, I don't know about you, but for me, I always want to be very careful with eyes. And with this dude, he's got these they're just like little almonds. So you just want to do like a little almond shape. And just, I do, like a little, yeah, there we go. sort of looking towards you. And I just kind of went along the bottom to get a little bit more of like a nice curve there. And you still see like that little impression of the nose. So another little almond. Sometimes has kind of a weary look about him for a baby, but then to be fair, sometimes babies, yeah, they're tired. They've never been more tired. They're babies. So again, for facial features with this kid, my instinct, and in general, like they say, don't use black. With these paints, you're never going to get more than a light gray anyway. But I mean, that's not really like the color of his features. Yeah, see, there we go. It's more like it's a darker green. And then I'm going to get like a little bit more into that nose there, which I kind of already implied. But now, also get his little brows going. There we are. And this is a time when I'm going to do like this. Really kind of, yeah, blend that in. Again, this might be breaking watercolor rules, but I don't care. That's kind of fun. You can see he's got his a rather big head on this kid, but he's got amazing powers, so that makes sense in a way. Like he's got to put all that power somewhere. And again, I'm just going to kind of wipe that, and I'm actually going to bring this down a little bit. I wasn't sure before, but now it's like, oh yeah, okay. Now that I see where the lines are for the head, yeah, that's better. So you can see, there's our boy, looking pretty good. And the thing about eyes in this case is, usually with eyes, you want them to be about like as far apart from each other as they are wide. So what that means, like this dude, he's a little bit different. He's just got these big, big eyes that really dominate his face. But typically, you're gonna want eye and then eye width and then eye. But here, like you can really see that is not the case with this little fellow. His eyes are just so big that they are closer than an eye width apart. But I'm still gonna be, yeah, just gentle so the eyes don't meet in the middle. Yeah, that's better. I like that. Getting there. Things that I still see I need to do. I'm just gonna drop this down one more time. Get the background into the boy. Because again, with watercolors, when you got these light colors, you can go back carefully with darker ones and say, okay, well, I wasn't quite right with my size, my impression, or my idea of what size things are that first time. So come back. And the ears are sticking up pretty high. But that's okay, because he's a happy dude. Like from what I've seen, the ears sort of droop when he gets sad, but they can go up pretty high. They can reach a significant altitude. That's fun. And you see here, I sort of like this. I didn't do it on purpose, but that's usually how that goes. Um, I'm going to get like more of a dark outline around the child just to sort of emphasize him in this star field, sort of galaxy background. Yeah, so this is nice. Just go there. Get kind of an outline, bring some more emphasis to the little fella because he's a little dude and it's a big galaxy. There we go. It's nice because the drip just kind of let us down the arm. And if I come over here, do that. Again, I'm going to kind of swirl this because, like, I like the idea of this sort of, like, almost, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so we have a little bit of a shadow. We have a little bit of, I'm going to do that one more time. because, I've decided those ears are a little bit too wide, at least on this side. Which is kind of why I drew that line there, because it's like, okay, I might come back. Come back here. And now you see, yeah, that's better in terms of size and shape. And I'm actually going to bring that out a little bit. Doesn't need to be a totally dark outline. But now we're almost done, I think. Just going to add a little bit more stuff on the sides here. It's kind of my background approach. It's just sort of, well, if you like how it looks, it's good. It works as a background because, you have your fun thing you've painted in the foreground, and for background, it can just be what it is. It should complement the foreground. Your subject, I should say. But the whole idea with that is here, I like the colors. I like this combination of, you've got the green, you've got that lovely darker blue, and then the purples. It's just a fun combination. And to finish up, I'm going to get into a little bit of brown. Because again, he's got this big coat. And so really, yeah, the idea is, okay, there's a little bit of like a flap there. Bring that down a little bit. It's got like a little bit, of a crease. So that's good. Yeah, there we go. And so get into that. We can have almost a little bit of shading with our guy. Yeah, that's good. It is really, the light brown is the main color. It's almost a beige, really. But then, like the dark brown is important because it kind of gives you a sense of, oh, there we go. The folds. Like it's such a big little coat. Like it's little in the grand scheme of things, but it's so big on this little guy that you get all these like folds in it. And again, like the sleeves are rolled up, but it's just not enough. Like that, kind of roll up his sleeves a little bit. Yeah, that's pretty good. So it's looking like a pretty good baby. I am, however, before this goes any further, I'll fix that up there. Because, like space, he is of space, but space does not need to consume him. Bring this up a little bit more. You can kind of swirl this. And, I've left a couple dots here because I like the idea that, oh, we got some stars. Maybe just cover this one, but then leave these over here. So we have sort of kind of a suggestion of starlight. And then you have the nebulas, the purples and the blue, the swirl of galaxies, which is quite fun. And yeah, I like this. Because he's a powerful little dude. And so it kind of looks like, he's swirling things. Maybe they're swirling around him, or maybe he's doing it. So that is our little lad for the day. I hope you enjoy him. There he is. Feel free to, paint your own, whatever you would like to paint. On days like this, maybe you can do a theme, but also you can just have some fun with colors and shapes. That's a good time too. So thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon. This is a slightly better painting setup, I think, in terms of angle. It would help if I would not move it, I suppose. Yeah, there we go. Now I can kind of brace it. So once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.